Hey guys, what's up? So today, we're back with more reacting to scary videos! Today, it's another special. The special channel that we're gonna be watching is Wansee Entertainment. So I'm currently editing, and you actually, later in the video, you find out that I lied. And one of the videos is actually from Llama Arts. So yeah. And also, today, there's going to be 5 videos instead of 3. So that's gonna be nice. And also, let me give a big shout out to my boy Gabe. This man, he came back and he got 80 views on his first day. Give that a round of applause, man. Let's clap that up. Let's clap that up. His name is gonna be right now. It probably will be a screenshot of his channel, I don't know. So link will be in the description. Go subscribe to him. He makes really good videos. Big shout out to you, Gabe. Congratulations. And without further ado, let's get it. I'm ready. Oh yeah, before I start, I also want to address something. So yesterday marked the end of an era. Yeah, I changed it. And there's a few reasons behind it. Number 1, would you want your favorite YouTuber to be named Swaggy? No? I didn't think so. Number 2, I'm trying to build something because eventually I know that if I just keep grinding, my hard work is gonna pay off. And with a name like Swaggy J Entertainment, that's gonna drive away viewers. No matter how good your content is. Swaggy is a term used by 8-year-olds in 2015. No one does that anymore. I changed it to cryptic because cryptic, it sounds cool. It looks cool. It just is cool. I'm just cool. Make no harm, no foul, boy. Alright, so before we hop into these videos, hey Jerome, do you have any words for us?
My brother used to break in our house and steal the TV.
Okay. Alright, let's get into the videos. Alright guys, so this first video is called True Creepy Stalker Horror Story Animated. So, and it's by none other than Wansee Entertainment. So, without further ado, let's hop right into this video. True Creepy Stalker Horror Story Animated.
My name is Victor, and I'm 23 years old.
Alright.
I have a story that happened to me when I was 17 years old.
Okay.
I work as a carpenter at a local building company, and this happened at the period when I was a trainee for the same company.
Okay.
We were renovating a very old apartment building from around the 1960s that was going to be school classrooms for a school that had bought the building.
Nice.
As many carpenters, we were working on Friday, which basically means that we started earlier the rest of the week, so we could go home early on Fridays, which means it was a lot of very early mornings. So one day, I was on my way to work at about 4:30 in the morning and was walking the usual way to my bus. It was about 1 kilometer. It was through the block I was living on and then through a small path in the forest, about 200 meters. By this time in the morning, it was still pitch black because it was winter and I live in Sweden. So the path through the forest was like a black hole. So I grabbed my phone and put the flashlight on.
Nice.
An old iPhone 4S, by the way, and began
You're a
walking
bum,
the
dude.
small
You gotta
path.
upgrade, bro.
About halfway on the path, I heard a crackling noise from my right and flashed my light in the direction and saw nothing. I just figured it was an animal or something. At the end of the path, I heard
that
the
ain't an
crackling
animal,
noise
but
again, but this time it was much closer. I'd always been a little
Get out of there!
paranoid
Why
the
is you in
dark.
the woods at night,
I was
bro?
trying to get over it, but I began
Or early
walking
morning.
a little faster
Still,
away,
you in the
keeping an eye
woods
behind
when it's
me
pitch
the
black.
whole time.
You deserve to die.
When I arrived at the bus station, I sat down, waiting for the bus, and was saying to myself that I was a coward for being so paranoid about a small sound I heard. I could see the forest I walked through from the bus station because it was only about 50 meters from the station. And when I looked at the path, I saw a man standing behind a tree right under a street light about 10 meters to the right of the path.
Yo, that's Jeff the Killer.
He was clearly watching me. He was wearing black pants and an old light blue, almost pastel colored jacket, like it was from the 80s.
Low key.
I felt a bit sick when I realized he was watching me,
He got
even
tripped.
though it was only for about 20 seconds before I saw the bus arriving from around the corner. I immediately felt
Yeah, get up on
relief
that
when I
bus.
saw
Get
the
out of
bus. So I stepped on the bus, and it was as usual completely empty. I sat at the back of the bus
Make sure you don't
and
get
looked
on the
back
bus
at the forest to see if the man was still there, but he wasn't. When the bus began to take off, I heard a thud right beside my window. I quickly looked at the side and saw an arm reaching up to my window waving at me, and the arm was wearing a light blue jacket. I didn't have time to see his face because he was wearing a hood, and the bus had already taken off. On the way down to downtown, I tried not to think about the man, but it was so hard because it was so weird, and something like that had never happened to me before. I eventually got off the bus at my bus stop and began walking to the building where I had my working clothes and my gear. It was really close to my bus stop, so it only took me maybe about 5 minutes to walk there. When I arrived at the door to the building, I grabbed my key and was about to put it in the keyhole when I saw in the corner of my eye, peeking out from the building's corner, that man in the light blue jacket standing, looking at me. I quickly unlocked the door, ran inside, locked it behind me. After that, it was 2 more doors. Both needed an access card, so nobody without the card could get inside. After the first door,
why they so secure in the Carpenter building?
To the left, only lit up by a few
that's
lights
the
in the
abandoned
roof,
building. Okay.
and a ring in front of you. It was the second door that led to my locker in
You
the
got
coffee
an abandoned
room.
building and
I
a
ran
stalker.
as fast as
That's
I could.
not a good match,
I was
bro.
shaking at this time. There was no way I could think of how he could have got down here so fast. I put on some coffee and changed to my working clothes. It was completely quiet in the room. It felt like hours before my coworkers showed up. When they finally showed up, I felt the best feeling in a long time. When it was time to get started with working, we began walking towards the elevator that led up to the top floor, which we were currently working on. When we arrived at the top floor, I realized I forgot my helmet in the locker. So I took the elevator down, went through the 2 doors,
Bro,
and
come
got my
on.
helmet.
You got a stalker,
I was
you gotta be
making my way
better,
back
bro.
up to
You
the
gotta be more
others.
agile. When you
I
got
opened the first door and was standing in the dark.
Listen to me, bro. When you got a stalker, bro, you gotta be excelled in every other category. You gotta be quicker. You gotta be faster. You gotta be smarter. You gotta be stronger. You can't be forgetting stuff. Bro, come on, bro. That is a failure. That's a failure. You can't be doing that, bro. You have to outsmart the stalker. You have to outstalk the stalker, basically what I'm trying to say. You cannot let yourself be fooled and then you're gonna turn into mincemeat. I mean, it's common sense, but alright.
Hallway, I froze. I heard someone whispering my name from the back of the hallway. I looked down the hallway and saw the same man, the same light blue jacket. He was standing there looking at me. Then he said something I will never forget. "You look so peaceful when you sleep, Victor," he said in a deep but shaking voice.
No, you gotta.
I felt my whole world shatter when he said that. Then I ran for it. I opened the door and slammed it behind me. I ran
run,
to the
get out of
elevator
there.
and smashed the
Blitz
button
out
to
of
the
there.
top floor.
Woo.
It felt like I was going 100 floors before I got to the top. I ran to the others and told them what happened. They just laughed at me and thought I was silly, saying that nobody can get in there without a card. I planned to call the police, but I didn't for some reason. Probably because I didn't want to look like a coward in front of the others.
No,
Eventually,
man.
I never saw that man again. I don't know if I was hallucinating or he was really there. I have no idea. But I never walked the same path to my bus again, and I always sleep with my curtains down, even to this day.
Alright, bro. So that's gonna wrap up the first story. My thoughts on that was, okay, there was a lot of errors. You made a lot of errors during that. First of all, buddy, you cannot be walking in the woods in pitch black. That's just a fact. Have you ever watched any horror movies? That is a one-way key to death. I know you gotta get to work or whatever, but find a different way. Second of all, he said at the end of the story, he never sleep with his curtains open. Why was you sleeping with your curtains up in the first place? Man, y'all people weird, bro. I could never. Alright guys, this next story is called True Made Horror Story Animated by the one and only Wansee Entertainment. Now, the last one, it was cool. So let's see if this one is straight. Let's hop right into it. The Maid Horror Story Animated.
We used to have a maid from Indonesia, and her name is Wati.
Wati,
One night it was probably around 2 a.m. Everyone was sleeping. Suddenly, my brother and I heard my maid weeping. She was crying softly.
What's
We
wrong?
thought she probably missed her family in Indonesia, so we just ignored her and went back to sleep.
You can even draw
The next
characters
day,
for a family.
at the
That's
same
messed up.
time, around 2 a.m., she was weeping again. This went on and on for 3 months.
Go check on her.
We told our parents about it, and everyone had the same thought. She probably missed her family back home. One night at 9 p.m., my brothers and I were chilling in the living room. My maid was in the kitchen washing dishes. My dad was fixing the kitchen light, and suddenly my dad saw a shadow running around in the storage room. My dad thought it was one of us playing around, so my dad called out to my brother, "Can you please get the light bulb from the drawer?" But no one answered. Then my dad shouted, "Hey, can someone help me out and get the light bulb for me?" Both of us ran towards my dad from the living room, which is on the opposite side of the storage room. My dad then got confused and asked us why we came from the living room. We got goosebumps and walked into the storage room. We switched the lights on and saw that there was no one there. However, we saw the maid shaking. She looked at us, then started weeping again. My dad asked, "Who was that, and
What's
why
wrong
are
with
you
you,
weeping?"
bro?
My maid then explained that it was her guardian from Indonesia. My dad asked her to call him out, and he was going to call the police. But my maid stated that it was not a human, but a spirit that was summoned to protect her. After that, my dad brought us to a nearby hotel for the night and hired a spiritual hunter to chase the spirit away. Following that incident, we no longer heard the maid weeping, and she was sent back to Indonesia 3 days after the incident.
Alright, all I gotta say is you let the devil in your house. That's all I'm gonna say. You let the devil in your house. Alright man, so this next video is called My Ex-Colleague Tried to Kill Me. So, let's hop right into this. I'm excited for this one. My ex-colleague tried to kill me. Alright, let's get it.
Back when I was 21 years old, I was a strategic firearms commander.
Okay.
This meant that I led a team into dangerous situations that oftentimes involves hostages or civilians who carried guns or other deadly weapons.
That boy Alpha.
I had a second-in-command firearms commander working beside me. His name was Callum, and he was my best friend. We always hung out outside of work. While on duty, he would always joke around and make us crack a smile, even when we were dealing with pretty distressful stuff. We once had a case where a man had possession of a firearm, and we were assigned to take care of it. Callum seemed particularly eager and jumped out of the van before it even came to a full stop. When the rest of the team reached the scene, the man was already shot. Callum still had the gun in his hand. Soon after, I asked Callum why he was so eager to do it. And then he said he had no specific reason. He was just excited.
Oh, that's kind of weird. Why
I
are you
believed him
excited
because
to
he
kill
was my
somebody?
best friend.
But alright.
Later on, when I was looking at the man who was shot, I looked him up on social media and realized that he and Callum added each other on Facebook. Upon further investigation, I realized that there were thousands of messages sent between the two where Callum revealed sensitive information about several operations. I knew that he killed this man on purpose, but I had no way of proving it. He was taken to court and was sentenced to 3 years in jail for perverting the court of justice. I testified against him and was no longer his friend. When I was 24 years old, I was still on the firearms team. All that happened with Callum was behind me, and I was happy with my life. One night I went home really late after work. As I walked to my apartment, I realized that it was trashed. I called the police and they reported it, but there was not much they could do because I didn't have a CCTV. As I got into bed, I saw that there was a note on my bedside table. All it said was, "Remember me?"
Yo!
I instantly recognized Callum's handwriting. And now that he was out of prison, I thought that he would move on with his life. I was so wrong.
No,
This
you testified
was his
against him.
revenge.
He better try to kill you.
The next day, I went to the underground parking lot and I saw that my windscreen was smashed. It was clear that he wasn't over me testifying against him. Soon after, I also saw him near my apartment. I ran after him, but he ignored me and ran away. I tried calling his old number, but it was no longer in service. Then an envelope was sent through my door, and it contained hundreds of photos of me at work, home, and even out with my girlfriend at clubs and restaurants.
Yo, that's kind of weird, bruh.
These were all taken very recently. The last one, though, was a picture of Callum and I from years ago, and on the other side, written with a big red marker, were the words, "You're dead."
See, that's where you wrong, because I'm about
I
to blick you.
reported this as stalking and hoped he would end up back in prison.
I'm
The
about to blick
police
you,
had
no
gone to his
69.
listed address, but there was no one there. In fact, all of his bags were packed. I knew he was still in the area somewhere, though. One day I was by myself in an unmarked car, and I saw this Toyota Yaris, and it was driving close behind me. It was my gut instinct to get the plate number checked, and I was going to. But then I got a Priority 1 announcement on the radio saying there was a crazy man on a bus who had a knife and stabbed someone. I turned on my sirens and blue lights and headed to the accident. As I got on the bus, he was already arrested, and the ambulance was already there as well. As I was about to leave the bus, I heard a loud bang, and a man on the bus fell down.
Yo!
He was shot through the window by a man who was wearing a black hoodie. He immediately ran. I ran out of the bus and went to the boot of my car. I got my MP5 SF out,
He
which
pulled
is
it
a large
out!
rifle with sniper capabilities.
He got the strap
I ran
on
after
him.
the suspect and radioed in. They gave me an order of critical shot, which meant I could shoot to kill the suspect. He ran through the town center and went to the left. I was worried about public safety as he had a large rifle as well. I realized instead of running after him, I needed to get on a roof and shoot down. I went to this building that had views of the right and left. It took me 5 minutes, and I was worried that he would have run away by now. As I got to the roof, I turned my gun to the sniper level. I used the eyepiece to scan, and I saw a man in a black hoodie running. I fired a shot, and he fell to the ground. By the time I got there,
Dang,
more
they
armed
really body
policemen
him,
came
bro.
to the area. I was shocked to see Callum. He was the one who followed me in the car behind me, and that shot in the bus was meant for me. But he missed. Callum was dead.
You gotta get your
I
aim
felt
up, bro.
sad, but also relieved that this was all over. The man shot in the bus survived, and I was promoted for my diligent work. I'm still working in the force.
First they was good buddies. Then he killed him. And then you testified against him. Alright guys, I have to come clean. I lied in the beginning. I thought it was all Wansee Entertainment, but there's one Llama Arts. And it's right now. And honestly, I'm not mad by that. Because it's Llama Arts. And Llama Arts is goated. This one is called A Creepy Deep Web Story 2 Animated. So, it's by Llama Arts, y'all know that. Hop right into this, bruh.
I was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of a job life, I decided I would try my hand at working from home.
Get a job, you
nights
bum!
comprised me of surfing the internet.
Hold on. See, I hate people like that, bro. Oh, I'm just deprived. I don't feel like going to work. Nah, bro, get a job, you bum. Get a job. At least work at McDonald's till you could do something. Don't just sit on your butt and not have a job, because you ain't gonna have no money rolling in. And then you got to start taking from your savings. And once that's all gone, you're done. So, let's pause.
I could get. I was a big procrastinator, so more often than not, I'd stray away and waste time doing other things. One day,
PewDiePie, what's
I
good?
came across talk about the deep web while on Reddit. I felt amused by the people talking about it as if it was something so scary, and decided I'd look into it. It was stupid of me to go on it in the first place, but I made it even sillier by deciding to check it out late at night. It was about 2 a.m. and I came across a website where you could chat with someone anonymously.
I would never go
The
in the
person I got
deep
was a
web.
woman. She was in her early 20s and very pretty. She sat with her
She
head
bad.
in her hands, looking playful into the webcam while
She
batting
bad.
her eyes.
She get.
I had no desire to turn my camera on and started our chat, thinking that while I didn't come across anything scary, I could befriend this pretty girl. It sounded like a better deal.
Hey, how
anyway.
are you?
She told me to turn the camera on, but I ignored that request and tried to get her to talk. She finally did after some prodding, but I noticed how guarded she was. I also noticed how after every message I sent, her eyes would look off camera, either to her side or somewhere behind her computer. After a while, it started getting annoying, so I asked her if someone else was there with her.
I want to see you first.
She said. Up until now, I'd been chatting while she'd answered my questions verbally.
I'm not about to show you my camera on a dark web. Rip off
Don't be
Omegle.
scared.
She said,
You gonna have to give me a phone number or
this time
something.
looking
Put it.
behind the
Put your phone
laptop
numbers in the
again,
chat.
making a face that seemed to indicate
Put your phone
she
number in
was
the
laughing
chat,
at my
and now I
expense.
can show you my face.
If
But I'm not doing it on
someone
no dark web Omegle site, bro.
This is getting boring.
You got me messed up, bro.
It feels like I'm not just talking to you.
That's because you're not. You're talking to all of us.
Who else is there?
Turn your camera on.
Black
Is this
people?
a joke?
No racial. I'm half black. I love them.
Okay. I'll be leaving now.
Turn on the camera.
Her laughter was almost piercing by
Who was
now.
you talking
There
to?
was nothing humorous about the
See,
situation.
that's
yet
when I
she
wanna
threw
have
her
to-
head back
that's
with
when I-
riotous laughter.
Oh nah, that's
I
when
had
I.
enough and moved the cursor over to turn the chat box.
I would've had to
off
get out of
when I
there.
saw the cursor had jammed.
Huh?
The only thing that was working was the chat box.
Oh, turn off the
I
computer.
still had access to the keyboard.
I'm gonna turn off the computer.
Turn the camera on, sweetie.
Don't call me
Her
sweetie.
gum-drop-filled voice was louder than before.
Weirdo.
I moved my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera. Her face still beautiful,
look like
but
Doja
the
Cat.
smile completely fake.
Screw Doja Cat, man. Don't talk about her. She lied.
Sorry. I lied. I didn't want her to know I had no option but to
Teenage
chat.
Justin Bieber and Doja
Her
Cat.
screen flashed before going
Glass. Pay attention.
A chat message popped up.
Open the damn camera, you.
The aggressiveness in the message
No!
frightened me.
See,
Now, the fact
bro,
that I
turn
couldn't
off
see
your
her face when she
computer.
typed
What
this
are you
made me feel
doing?
nervous. I didn't dare reply back, but then the cursor moved. I watched shell-shocked as the cursor twirled around the screen.
Open the camera now.
I
No!
still didn't make a move. There was no way
Yeah,
anything good
don't
would
open
be
that
waiting
camera.
for me if I did what she asked.
Don't open the camera.
The screen began flickering, as if a virus was causing the computer to writhe in agony.
Do you want me to find you?
My heart raced. Could it be possible she knew where I was? I started typing. Please stop bothering me.
Then turn on the fucking camera.
Hey!
By this point, I thought she was some kind of sadist and got her kicks by scaring unassuming people in chat rooms. So I obliged and turned the webcam on. I saw my frightened face staring into the screen. Judging by my face, my attempts at looking tough were painfully unsuccessful. I asked around for the girl looking straight into the camera, telling her I did what she wanted and to stop hacking into my computer. There were several seconds of silence. I kept my stare directed to the little box that showed her camera feed, but it was pitch black. I motioned into the camera in confusion, feeling as if she was messing with me now. Then I saw another message.
Look here.
After a few seconds of staring at those words, I looked back at her camera, but my computer instantly malfunctioned, and I received another message.
Look here. Don't look up.
The chat was filled with nonsensical gibberish. She typed with such ferocious speed, my screen whirled away with her constant messages.
Control C, Control
I
V.
couldn't understand what was going on, but I didn't look up. My patience ran thin, and I wrote back, "What is this supposed to mean?" Her response came. I read only the letters in
Look
bold and shuddered. I looked back into her webcam, and I fell back into my chair, my eyes widening. She was back there, only her face looked completely demented. She had a savage expression, devoid of emotion, but her eyes were almost popping out of their sockets, and she was huffing as if she had extreme amounts of pent-up rage. The way she looked directly into the camera made me feel she despised me with all of her being. There was no amusement there anymore. Her camera went blank again. Then the chat popped up. My heart stopped again. For a split second, there had been the same blackness, only for the lights to come back on.
Oh!
She wasn't alone anymore. There was a man next to her with a black mask on. He made no movements other than look into the camera like the girl. The girl's neck creaked to her side. It looked like it was causing her pain, and then the lights went out again. The chat resumed.
You won't catch me on there.
This time, I screamed in fright and fell off my chair. There was another man with them now. He was standing next to the girl with the original one on the other side. This man had the same mask on, but his hands were grasping the girl's shoulders. Even with the subpar quality of the webcam, I could see the force with which the man dug his hands into the girl. It looked like he could rip her in two. The girl, however, had a huge grin on her face. Her eyes were mad with glee, or so it looked. Her teeth were perfectly lined up as her mouth spread into that toothy grin, but I could see she was in pain. Even with the smallest sign of her smile fading, the man clenched his hands even tighter than before, which made her smile even wider. All three of them were shaking, as if it was extremely cold where they were. After a couple seconds, I realized they were shuddering, like trying to hold back laughter.
What are you laughing at?
I yelled into the screen.
Bro, shut
I
up.
didn't answer, and continued to tremor.
You're a
with
bum, dude. You got no
concealed
job.
hilarity.
Bro.
What is so damn funny?
I bellowed. They stopped shaking.
End your
Within
life,
a couple
JB.
seconds, the screen went black again. When it turned back on, the man no longer grasped the girl's shoulder. Neither was she smiling. All three pointed into the camera. Upon a closer look, I understood that they weren't pointing at me. They were pointing behind me.
Look behind you!
I didn't need to look back. I could see myself in the webcam. There was someone peeking from behind me. It was another man in a mask. And according to what I saw on my webcam, he was with me in my room, right behind me. I turned around quickly, but saw nothing where I had seen him in the webcam. I turned back towards the screen and, to my bewilderment, saw a third man in the girl's chat box. It was the same man I had just seen standing in my room. Now, all three had their hands on the girl and were gripping tight.
They finna gang
The
rape
girl
her.
wasn't laughing anymore. She had a look of utter devastation. A tear was dropping from her eye, but it wasn't just a tear. It was blood trickling down her eye socket. She then mouthed the words, "Help me," and the next second she screamed as if her lungs were being ripped off as the screen went black. I immediately got up and pulled the plug out of my computer and backed out of the room. For a couple seconds, I swear I heard her screams even though the computer was unplugged. The room went quiet, but I was too devastated to stay there and ran out of my house despite it being 3 a.m. I caught a cab and went over to my friends, who had to talk me down for an hour before I could be calmed. I returned back to my house with my friend a day later. Everything was the same, and after thoroughly checking around the house, we concluded that there was no one there, nor was there a sign of anyone ever having broken in.
Delete your...
I've never
Throw away
gone
your
back to
computer.
the deep web. My friend suggested it might have been some prank by computer hackers, but the way that girl shrieked, the terror she had on her face, it convinced me she had been a victim herself. I'd wondered if I had stayed on for longer, if I would have become a victim too. Could those men have found me? Was there really someone in the room with me? There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing concrete to report to the police. What I did do was throw the computer out and find a new one. There was no
Nice.
way I could even open it back up after what happened.
Alright, first of all, I would have been got out that chat. You're stupid, and you deserve to have someone in your room. Okay guys, so unfortunately this video is going to be the last video of the day. I know, it's been going pretty good, right? If you've enjoyed so far, like the video, why don't you subscribe? I don't really care, but subscribe. This video is called True Scariest Doppelganger Story, animated by Wansee Entertainment. It's only 3 minutes, so let's hop right into this, y'all.
I'm 21 years old now.
Ugh!
This happened to my uncle when I was around 9 years old.
That boy ugly.
My uncle was living in our house and was staying at our vacant guest room up on the second floor.
No, we don't do that right.
He's my dad's cousin, so he was really close to our family.
What's the video?
My uncle was a morning person. He would always get up at around 4 a.m., drink coffee, and run morning errands around the house.
Nice.
He also told us that he could see and feel ghosts because he has a third eye. And to give you a little background on our house, it was the very first house that was built on our street. We could sometimes feel something moving around our house, especially at night, but we never really paid attention to it. One morning, my uncle woke up at his usual time, around 4 a.m. He left his room, which was right beside the staircase, saw my older sister, who was 17 years old at that time, going up the stairs with a cup of coffee in her hand. The weird thing was, he said that my sister was looking down and not showing her face the whole time. He greeted her with, "Good morning, and why are you up so early?" He said my sister just kept walking up while looking down and ignoring him. My uncle felt awkward as my sister just walked past him. He ignored it, thinking my sister was in a really bad mood. He thought she probably stayed up late studying or something.
That's a little weird.
My uncle
but okay.
went down to grab a cup of coffee when he saw my mother in the living room, ironing some clothes. My uncle was confused about why my mother was up at 4 a.m. and ironing clothes. He tried to talk to her and asked the same thing he asked my sister. "Why are you up so early?" He noticed that my mother was wearing the same clothes from the night before she went to bed, so he knew it was her. To his surprise, my mother ignored him. My mother never ignored anyone, which is why he found it strange. My mother was just looking down as she kept ironing. That's when my uncle knew something was off. He knew something was very wrong here. He rushed back upstairs to his room, locked the door, turned off the lights, and tried to go back to sleep. He tried to forget about it and woke up again a few hours later.
He's gonna leave the kids out there?
It was around 10 a.m. in the morning when he talked to my mother and my sister about what happened. They said they were asleep the whole night, and they don't recall waking up at 4 a.m.
Huh?
My uncle was so shocked about what he had just experienced. Someone was copying my mother and sister earlier that morning.
How's that possible?
I was so scared at that time. I became so paranoid that I might feel or see something odd in our house, but I tried not to think about it too much. The night after that situation, my uncle woke up at around 3 a.m. He felt something at the end of his bed, and he saw a woman with long hair sitting there. My uncle froze for a while. He didn't know what to do. He was trembling when he said, "Go away." My uncle hid under his blankets.
What's that gonna
After
do?
a few
It
minutes,
already saw
which
you.
felt like hours, he looked at the same spot where he saw the woman, and she was gone. My uncle slept with the lights on that night. After that experience, he thankfully didn't experience anything like that.
She hanged herself? Oh, whoa! Okay, that took a really unexpected turn. So she hung herself? Or she was hanging down? I don't know. But anyways, you guys, that is gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. It helps me out. Subscribe. Like I said earlier, go subscribe to Gabe right now, man. Right now. If you like my content, you'll like his content. Subscribe to me and Gabe and Corey Kitchen. And peace.